بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The voice of people who are tired is not lazy. I have the best opinion of you. Starting with something good. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm at least double your age, if not more. And if you're tired and lazy at the end of the day, how should I be traveling around and coming from Damascus and moving around in 1, 2 hours, 3 hours drive from a place to another? So give me some energy. Give me some energy and give me some hope that what I say will find ears to pick it up, will find minds to reflect on it, will have hearts to absorb it. We agree on this, inshallah? I'm not going to make a long introduction. Time is short. I have to rush to the offices of Islam Channel. I have unscheduled interview live now at 8 o'clock. So we have to rush from 7:30 over here to the offices. Brothers and sisters, talking about knowledge is so favorable. Knowledge is one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People who acquire knowledge are acquiring some or getting some of the knowledge which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it possible, accessible to humanity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not ask us in the Quran al-Kareem addressing His beloved Prophet, the final of all messengers, for an increase of anything. Allah did not order us to ask for an increase of anything except knowledge. وَقُلْ, say, that is to say between brackets, O Muhammad, say, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, O my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Not in money, not in fame or beauty, increase me in knowledge. There is so much to talk about when we address the virtues of knowledge. This is not the subject of today. But just to highlight it from the beginning, and I would like you to be aware of what you're doing. You're doing an act of worship, ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are devoting yourself to serve humanity. You are picking up the most precious thing in the world, which people pay money to get. You're in no way similar to people who are pursuing businesses and getting money through trade or export, import. You are in no way similar to people who are looking for fame. You are in no way similar to models or others who have other criteria in their lives. You are picking up wisdom. You are using your reason, your mind, which is the most important element, gift Allah has given us. Through reason you learn, through reason you get to know your Lord, subhanahu wa ta'ala. This intellect is the vessel of knowledge, and at the same time the instrument of analyzation, memorization, learning, reflection, giving answers, understanding questions, comprehension. In a nutshell, brothers and sisters, you are on the right track. Be thankful for those who encouraged you to be here. Be thankful to your parents, to brothers, sisters who advised you to continue on that road. However, brothers and sisters, this is the beginning. And I hope that all of you will continue. to the highest levels in knowledge. But in order to survive in that journey, which is paved sometimes by roses and often by thorns, you need to have a strategy. You need to have a vision, plans, understanding of what you're doing and the obstacles confronting you. You need to have a piece of advice or several pieces of advice, and this is very typical and traditional in Islamic history. The Prophet ﷺ advised his students. We call them Sahaba, companions. That was the early term for a student. Ashabu Abi Hanifa, companions of Abu Hanifa, they are his students. They called Ashab. It is because seeking knowledge was not limited to a number of years, 2, 3, or 5 years, for example. It took one's lifetime till the Shaykh died. Students accompanied their teachers for 20 years, for 30 years. Abu Hanifa accompanied his teacher, Hammad ibn Abi Sulaiman, for 17 years. Was a scholar before, even, and then continued his fiqh studies with Hammad for 17 years. They were called Ashab. And this is taken from the students of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, called his Sahaba, from Suhba, companionship. However, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam definitely was the first teacher. And his Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, may Allah be pleased with them, were the first students. And they graduated without degrees. Degrees of honor were given to them by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Aqdaakum Ali, the best amongst you in court procedures, in qada, is Ali. For example, رضيت لأمتي ما رضيه لها ابن أمي عبد. I accept for my ummah what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud accepts for my ummah. Abu Ubaidah Aminu هذه الأمة. The trustee of this ummah is Abu Ubaidah. أعلمكم بالحلال والحرام معاذ. The most learned person amongst you in halal and haram is Mu'adh. These were degrees, certificates of honor, titles given from the Prophet ﷺ to the people who accompanied him. Sahaba after him, especially Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala, laid several pieces of advice to the seekers of knowledge. Scholars afterwards continue the tradition. One of the most famous booklets, epistles written in that area is the work of Imam al-Hafiz Abu al-Faraj Abdul Rahman ibn Ali, known and famous for Ibn al-Jawzi, a famous Hanbalite scholar of hadith. He wrote an epistle, an advice to his son in order to encourage him to seek knowledge and set forth for him some guidelines for seeking knowledge. After Imam Ibn al-Jawzi, many wrote several advices for people. However, in our modern time, we find it quite difficult because of the changing of the conditions, and changing of the locations, changing of the subjects now, with the modern challenges. I have set for you some elements, I would say, some titles, in order to start with, guidelines. We're now in a century, in a time which everything has to be summed up. Everything has to be put in guidelines, in titles, in very brief way. So I have summed up for you all what you need in the following titles. Foundation, belief, and good work. Foundation, the foundation of success in your studies, belief, and good work. The core of your studies, of your success, the core of your success, it is your hard work. I'm now just making brief mention of these elements and going back to elaborate on them just to give you an idea of what we're going to go through in this talk. The foundation, the core. Then we have the goal. goal of your studies. We have the character of the student, which contributes to the success in the studies. We have the attitude, and we have the behavior. In order to elaborate on these, we have to go point by point. And it starts from the foundation. Brothers and sisters, the foundation of success in this life is believing in Allah. I'm not sure if we have any non-Muslim students amongst us here, but I would like to talk to them, give them my greetings, and call them to follow this beautiful way of Islam, of recognition of God on the face of the earth, of being truly and dutifully thankful to Him for the bounties He bestowed upon us. Foundation, a strong belief in your Lord. You need it very much, for practical reasons even. But if you fail, we don't want you to go and commit suicide. You know this is a decree from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes you do your best. But other surroundings or factors contribute to your failure, God forbid. So you need here to have your belief in Allah, your certitude, your trust in Him, that for some wisdom, you didn't make it this year or on that subject, but you're going to make it. You turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say to Him, whatever comes from you, I've done my job, I've done my work, I worked hard, but you decreed for me not to take the certificate, the degree this year. I accept what you decreed for me. All that comes from God is sweet because you are His servant and you believe in Him. Allah will not fail you in total. What appears to you wrong in one corner or at one stage in your life is not wrong from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is full wisdom from Him. And this is a vast area of subject I would like people to reflect upon in the study of the deen, the study of theology, the study especially in the study of how we develop our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in books like Ihya Ulumuddin of Imam al-Ghazali, in books like Futuh al-Ghayb, Revelations of the Unseen of Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, in books like the Aphorisms of Imam Ibn Ata'illah al-Secondary al-Hikam. You get to understand your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all situations, whether in prosperity or in adversity, whether in joy or in sorrow. So you are able to handle all situations. This is the foundation. It should produce good works. And by good works here, we mean religiously speaking, that you do your obligations, your religious obligations towards Allah. When people do not adhere to divine instructions, it will be very difficult for them to find any driving power to do their obligations toward other human beings. Your obligations towards your Lord, who obviously sees you, but there's no power when you are alone to drive you to pray, but you still pray. It means there is something inside you. They call it now in the society conscience, for example. We call it conscious awareness of your Lord. So that even when you are alone, you're not going to get bribed, you're not going to cheat in your exams because of your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you want to obey Him. Cheating is wrong. Wherever it goes, whatever happens, no matter in what situation you are, cheating is wrong. You're not going to do it because of your fear of your Lord and your ability to follow His instructions on the face of the earth, to live as a Muslim, to believe as a Muslim and to live as a Muslim. This will result in very practical things, the good works. Exactly as the belief resulted in some practical things in your life, good works will result in a lot of good things. Now on your gaze, it's very important. And Imam al-Ghazali and Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah ta'ala, complained to his teacher, Waqi', of the bad memories he has. And Imam al-Shafi'i is known for a very strong memory. he would hold the book and cover the left page, because if his eyes caught it before the right page, he would memorize it before. With all of this, at one point in his studies, he complained to his teacher, Wakia,